So my group's working on melanoma, and melanoma is a major health problem in Queensland, as you realise. When we have probably the highest, well, we do have the highest melanoma rates in the world, and this is because of our outdoor lifestyle. We're working on two areas of melanoma: early stage disease, because if we can identify melanomas while they're still on the skin, we can essentially cure them very easily. The second stage is late stage disease, where there are now indications that we can finally cure the disease. But what we're finding is that the treatments that we're developing are very rapidly becoming tolerated by the disease, and so we need many more new approaches to cure melanoma. So they're the sort of two areas we're working on. In the first aim, where we're looking at early stage disease, we're still very early in the process. What we're trying to identify are markers that identify very early stage melanoma, in fact before it becomes a full-blown melanoma. And we want to use that to correlate with the way the melanoma actually looks on the skin. And if we can manage to do that, we should develop a tool that will allow clinicians around the state with very little training to actually identify these early stage melanomas. But as I say, that's still in very early phases of work. Our other project is looking at some drugs that have been developed by companies overseas, and we're trying to repurpose them for melanoma, but actually trying to identify new targets, reuse them for targets that we've identified in melanoma. And so again, that's still relatively early stage, but because these drugs have clinical data, we should be able to rapidly bring those into a clinical trial to see if what we're identifying in the laboratory in fact will work out in patients. If we are successful, I think the tool for identifying early stage disease has got to decrease melanoma rates. We see a lot more people being a lot more conscious about their skin and spots, and if we can develop tools that clinicians can, or just medical practitioners can use easily, we should be able to identify melanomas before they become a problem. In terms of the late stage disease, I suspect we're going to develop something that's going to be part of a big battery of specific drugs to target melanoma. And I'm not sure how they're going to be utilised, but I suspect either they'll be utilised in combination or essentially one after the other. As the cancer becomes tolerant to one form of treatment, we should be able to use another one. And I think we're going to develop one of that battery of specific treatments for melanoma. And in fact, in terms of those treatments, the way we're looking at them, we should be able to use them not just for melanoma, but for other tumour types that have what we call a similar specific target. And so it's difficult to say at present how broadly applicable these things are going to be, but certainly in melanoma I think they'll be really very useful.